Well, many thanks for staying tuned. The federal government has announced plans to regularize electricity tariffs in a bid to address disparities in the current billing system, as well as encourage investment in the power sector. The Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, made this known at the ongoing public presentation of the National Integrated Electricity Policy and Nigeria Integrated Resource Plan on Thursday in Abuja. He said the government is considering this option over the slow pace of migration to Band A customers, which he attributed to the reluctance of distribution companies to make the necessary investments. So under the current structure, customers in Band B who enjoy 18 to 17 hours of electricity supply pay about 63 naira per kilowatt hour, while those in Band A with only 2 hours more of the supply charged 209 naira per kilowatt hour. Well, these are some of the issues. The consumers are reacting to this and seeking redress from the government to ensure that there is some sort of regularization of the charges. We have in the studio a social commentator who will help shed light on this issue in the person of Mr. Paulinus Peter. Mr. Peter, you're welcome on Niger Delta Today. It's good to have you on the program.
Thank you very much.
For joining us, sir.
Good afternoon.
Indeed. Well, the issues within the power sector is not new to us, and the discos themselves have a role to play in all of this. There's no appropriate metering of consumers, and you begin to wonder, how do you charge, if I'm permitted to use the analogy, how do you charge for a SIM card when you have not even provided the SIM card to the consumer?
Well, for me, it's a funny situation, and that's because in our country we have a situation where data is a problem. We don't have accurate data, and that to that extent made whatever measurement we have to be that of estimation, and that listen to the comments and the concern of the Honorable Minister for Power, and it talks about bridging the disparities in tariff. But I have this to say that in as much as you have disparity in income, you have disparity in the demography of the population. There is no how there shouldn't be disparity, because I haven't read and listened to his comment. It's talking about the fact that not that they really want to increase the tariff, but they will do it in a manner that the one paid by those in Band A, the gap will not be that much, and that technically, points to the fact that there will be some sort of increase for the people in the Band A. And for me, I don't think it's fair enough. Nobody's against, government, taxing the populace, the citizens. It's within the prerogative of government. But the world over, there's what they call principles or canon of taxation, which we have to look at the ability of the taxpayers to pay. So it's not just enough for you to say, this is what you want to do, this is how much you should pay, because it's a problem in Nigeria. It seems all what we know about revenue is generation. And when it comes to application, government has been found wanting. And that makes the citizens to always ask, the money so generated, how have they been applying, and all those things. So for me, I think it's not the right time for this to be done, because haven't considered the fact that it's of recent that the government has kind of removing the subsidies from fuel, and this has actually distorted the economy and created some shocks. I think the citizens should be allowed, to breathe, and the government should sit up and actually deploy the excess resources they told us that would be got from the regularization of the petroleum product to actually channel it to other critical sectors of the economy without actually bothering the citizens, because at the end of every taxation, whether you call it tariff or whatever, it is actually the citizens that bear the burden. Yeah. So what I actually expect the government to do is to first and foremost look at the impact of the policy that they have so initiated and implemented before they will rush to what they call the regularization and other stuff. So government should sit down and evaluate these policies that we have come up with. How is it affecting the common people? How is it affecting small scale businesses and what have you? And by the time you do this and look at the fact that because government in its very essence exists to promote the welfare of the people. So whatever, policy, whatever, principle, whatever government wants to do, the welfare of the people should be taken into consideration. And this is where I feel the government should tread with caution so that the people of Nigeria are not actually overburdened.
Okay, talking about this regularization, now, would you say that the forceful transition of Band B consumers to Band A in terms of the tariff, do you think that's part of the regularization as well?
Well, I'm happy you are using the
without
words,
notification.
I'm happy you are using the words forceful, which is not how it should be. And initially, when the government comes up with the issue of categorizing power consumers into bands, for me, I was like trying to understand the motives of government. Okay. What they tend to, accomplish or achieve by that policy trust. Because for me, I was tempted to think that government is looking at a kind of a redistributive policies where the people that are well-to-do, are taxed more, and the process got from that, channel into improving, the access to power of the people that are not all that well-to-do. Okay. But it seems to us that all what the government is interested is revenue generation, without minding the ability of the people to pay. So, kind of driving people from Band B to Band A is not something that should be. And again, I think early this year, there is a document from the Ministry of Power where they actually said they have enlarged those in Band A. And for us in our Akwa Ibom State, we look at it, how do they come to that? And do a kind of a tumble of a thing that it seems this street is having more light, and that they should bring them into Band A, and that is not how it should be done.
Without even achieving the number of hours. That
not really. That is not how it should be done. It should not just be in taxation. It should also be in income.
All right.
I don't know if you understand my point.
I do.
Because a situation where the government is fair in this instance.
Mr. Paul Peter, let me get you to respond to the issue of metering, because it's a very pertinent aspect that we have heard has been used to involve in such shady dealings and monkey business where people are charged for exorbitant electricity consumption that they didn't consume. How important is metering currently in the country, and do you think that there's been proper distribution of these meters? Discos are supposed to distribute meters, but we are not seeing that happen.
Well, it's still a problem, even when citizens in some aspects are very much willing, to acquire the electricity meters. You can see that those meters are not readily available in the market. And a situation where they are available, the access to it, is not that burden. And that makes us to ask the government, how do they arrive at their outcome? Because a situation where the metering is not there in place, then your judgment of power consumption should be further and the rest of it. But it also seems to me that the government understands what they are doing, because if you have an accurate of what you consume, you will be in the know of how much you should be charged.
All right.
But the government enjoys telling citizens that your bill for the month of January was 80,000 and you are in Band A, that's what you should pay, without actually minding to give a verifiable, the government should busy herself doing, and not just to sit down somewhere and that. And of course, situation is a funny for federation, because it seems today and today they'll be sitting to make policies that will bind all the federations. That is not what deregulation is all about.
It's an unending conversation, Mr. Paul Peter, but we hope that the government would do what it needs to do, especially when we talk about the issue of metering and the many pockets of issues within the power sector in Nigeria. Thank you very much, Mr. Paul Peter, social commentator, for making out time to come on Niger Delta Today.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Well, that's the size of the program. Many thanks for staying tuned. And it's the weekend. I'm hoping you have a swell one. You can follow all our activities all through the weekend on adbntv.com. My name is Xavier Robert, wishing you a terrific weekend.
And I am Awere Swogene Ebo. Do enjoy the rest of our programming.